We are in Module 6. In the next 2 weeks, we will talk about Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, we will introduce different kinds of loop, and also we will talk about how to read and write from a text file. The first thing, let's talk about loop. This week, we will talk about while loop and the do-while loop. Next week, we will continue to talk about for loop and talk about the read and write to the file. So let's talk about what is the loop. The first example we want to show you is a while loop. So the introduction about the loop, you need to know when we say a loop, that means you have a control structure that will cause the statement or multiple statements. Usually you can say we can cause a block, code block to repeat. So this loop, you can have something you want to repeat to do that. You can have one condition to know you will repeat to execute a code block. Or you want to execute this code block 10 times. So no matter which one, we call that a loop. So the loop can say is a control structure that you want to repeat, execute a code block. So we have actually 3 different kinds of loop. The first one we will talk about what is the while loop. So we see the general format or the syntax for the while loop. So your while loop look like this. You have the while keyword. Then in the parentheses is the expression. So this expression is the logical condition. So then what you want to repeat to do, you just write in the code block. So if you only have one statement, you don't need to have these curly braces. But most of the time, we want to have multiple statements we want to repeat. So we always have the good habit to put those statements in a curly braces. So you can see here, the while loop is like this. So before we learn, we have the if statement, right? So your if statement, the same thing, you have expression, but you only do the statement one time. So after you've done the statement, you finish. But the while loop is different. While loop is if this condition is true, then the while loop will go into the statement. Then after they finish, they will go back to the while keyword. Then evaluate the expression again, then execute the statement. So the while loop, basically, you just, according to your expression every time, are they true or false? Then I decide I want to run this statement or not. So that's why here we see again the while loop expression like this. The expression we can say this is a logic condition. So that's why every time you will evaluate this expression. If this expression is true, right, so then we execute the whole code block. Then after we finish, we are not going out, we're going back. After that true, we execute the whole block. Then we coming back to the while loop to evaluate the expression again. So of course, if this expression is false, then we total skip this code block. We go to the next line, the following statement. So usually the while loop, we can using a flow chart to show that. So that's your expression. If your expression is true, we go to execute the statement. If false, we mean we finish. But the difference between while loop is after your expression is true, after I finish the statement, I coming back to the beginning of the expression. So that's why they back to the expression or the condition. So you can see this one is different from before, right? So before they look like similar, the while loop or the if statement syntax. But when we do the if condition is, we do the if this expression is true, right, we execute that. But after we finish, you see we go back to here. We go back to the next statement. That's the if statement. But the while loop is, after that's true, I execute the statement by coming back. So then we see the example. So this example is the example 3. So you can see here, we need to have a condition, right? So that's why before that, we will define a variable. Usually we say this variable is a counter. So we have the number equal to 1. So the while condition is if the number less than or equal to 5. Good. So if that's true, I execute this whole block. If not, I just go to the next line. Good. So you can see here, when number equal to 1, good. Number less than equal to 5. This one is true. So that's why I come into the block. So that's why I see out hello. So here, \t mean the tab. By default, the tab is 8 space. But that's all up to your IDE or your application, how they define the tab. So then we see we display the number. So then you see afterward, you see this one, we say number plus equal to 1. So this plus equal to 1 basically is the same as number equal to number plus 1. Okay, so let me show you. Let me show you this one. We are in the code block. In the Cloud9. Yeah, I use Cloud9. So let's use Cloud9. So let me show you again about line 16. So line 16, we have the number equal plus equal to 1. If you remember, actually this incrementation we talked about before, I think the first couple chapter. So actually this one equivalent to, you see, number equal to number plus 1. So this one maybe you can understand better. They are equivalent to this statement. So this statement just means I'm using the original number from the number, you see this one is 1. So 1 plus 1, then I assign back to the number. So afterward, number become 2. So that's we usually show you we do this way. But in programming language, a lot of time we just do this way. You just have the variable if you want to reassign again. So then if you want to do the addition, you have the operation plus. So then equal. So then the number you want to repeat add. So then they are the same. So all this and this, they are the same meaning. But a lot of time we write like this way. Or later we will show you what is the pre-increment and post-increment. A lot of time, if we only want to write plus 1, right? So then you just do the number plus plus. So that means plus 1. So that's the example 3. The most important thing is when we do the while loop, we have the condition. So this condition actually usually the condition will be changed the value in the block. So that's why you see after number equal to 1, then when our number less than equal to 5 is true. So I get into the block. So after I print the information, you see I increment number by 1. So now number become 2. So after we're done, remember while loop, after you're done the block, you will coming back to the while. So now number equal to 2. 2 less than equal to 5, that's true. So that's why we display again. So number equal to 2. So then we increment number by 1. So number become 3. So again, we come back to the while loop. So 3 is still less than equal to 5. So we print again. So hello 3. Then we increment by 1. Number become 4. So then again, I come back to the while loop. Number 4 less than equal to 5, true. So I display again. Then I increment number become 5. So I come back again. So 5 less than equal to 5. That's true. So I continue to execute the block, display the number. So then afterward, number becomes 6, right? So then again, I finish the block. I come back to the while. So 6 less than equal to 5. So that's false. Good. So then since that's false, so I skip the block. I go to the next line. So that's display. That's all. So you can see here for your sample code. So of course, the most important thing, we need to make them run the program. So then you will see here is your result. So then they will display, because we have number star equal to 1. So then you see in the while loop, they start display hello 1, hello 2. You see we go to the while loop so many times until there are 5, I display. So then after the 5, I increment by 1 becomes 6. So then I check again, 6 is false. So that's why I display, that's all. So that's the while loop. So the while loop, you need to be careful. The most important thing is after your while is true, I execute the whole block. But after we done, we coming back to check the expression again until that's false. So I finish. So that's why sometimes we need to be careful. The condition need to be changed. Otherwise, we have some situation is your expression, the expression after the while is being evaluated before you go to the loop. So that's why sometimes actually your loop maybe never execute. For example, we change number equal to 6. So number equal to 6, 6 less than equal to 5, true or false? False, right? So that's why since this one is false, right? So then they just right away skip this code block, then they go to the next line. So you can see here, number plus plus actually is equivalent to number plus equal to 1. Okay, so I told you this one, you see they never execute. But we need to test the program, right? So that's why here we go back to this program. That's change. If we start the number equal to 6, we see what they will display. Okay, so you run. Then you will see your result is what? Yeah, they only display that's all. So that's why when you are 6, your 6 less than equal to 5 is false. So then they even don't come to the loop. They just right away go to that's all. So that's sometimes your while loop even never execute. Or we have the other situation is sometimes your while loop contain the code make the expression become false, so we finish. But sometimes your loop never have a way to stop. So that situation because the loop never stop, we call infinite loop. Because they will repeat all the time. For example, earlier, we have number equal to 1, that's the initial value. So while number less than equal to 5, we display hello. But then remember earlier, we actually in the loop, we increment the number. But how about we forgot to increment the number? Then you will find out number always equal to 1, right? So you see 1 less than 5, true, I print. Then number, so number is still 1. So 1 less than 5, true. So number less equal to 5, true. So you see they continue to display. Also then we call the infinite loop. So now the same thing you should put in the code. You need to write in your code. So we start from number equal to 1. We still have the same condition, number less than equal to 5. But here, if we accidentally we forget to increment, then later we run, you will see what happened. So after I change, now I need to give you more space to see the result. So you run. Okay, did you see you run? Actually, they are never finished. You feel like the whole, right? No, but I move my screen. You see they never finish. So this one is we call they went to the infinite loop. Okay, so this one actually we need to try to stop. Yeah, to close that. Otherwise, they never finish. So the reason is why? Because you have the initial value. You make the while loop true. But then in your loop, you never change your condition. So that's why you forgot you need to increment. Then you will cause the infinite loop. Okay, so otherwise, then you see now we change back. So then, right, they only display 5 times. So that's what we call the infinite loop. So make sure you will download example 3, not only just see I show you. You need to download and upload to your IDE and run the program and try different scenarios. That's how you will learn to do the programming.